it's actually mostly negative. Most people are saying it looks horrible, looks like a refrigerator on wheels. It's a disaster of a design. But once you start living with this thing, you drive around with it and you talk to people about it who have never heard of it, they're saying things like, this is crazy. This is like a movie prop. It's sci-fi. Looks something alien. So there's a lot to it. Here, first of all, stainless steel and black plastic. That's mostly what you're working with here. And the front, I think it has a good angle, to be honest. I'm a sucker for a light bar, but the actual headlights are down here so they stay out of people's eyes. In general, it's like a square jawline, no curves, just angles. But the back, not so much. It's still technically a bar, yes, but it's a little bit dinkier in my opinion. And also just tons of black plastic in the back, really high tailgate. I'm getting like dump truck vibes from back here. I don't think I'm the only one. I don't think the back is its best angle, but if I had to narrow it down, I'm pretty sure the most iconic profile is the side. And the two elements of this truck that really stand out are this slope, these high shoulders, and then the pointy corners on the other side. See, most pickup trucks have basically this general shape. It's the traditional pickup truck look. And so we're not used to seeing this angle right here and this huge slope right here. It's unusual, it's weird, it's very visually interesting. So I've been living with the Cybertruck for about a month now, well over 1,500 miles. And you notice a couple things. First of all, people, whenever you go park somewhere, always want to come up to you and talk about it. Naturally, I've entertained a lot of these conversations because they're fun. And they usually say two things. One, you'd be surprised how many people have never heard of the Cybertruck. I know for us online people watching this video, you're like, how could anyone have not heard of the Tesla Cybertruck? But you'd be shocked. And two, most people just want to know, how much does that thing cost? And I got asked that so many times, eventually I just started having people guess. And 100% of the people who guessed were too high. People were guessing 250, 300K, 180K, 150K. They're all way over. But how could they know? They don't know what the rest of the truck is. They've just seen this thing they've never seen for the first time. And so I guess the conclusion is the looks are really distracting people from the rest of what makes the Cybertruck the Cybertruck. Okay, let's play a little game. I'm going to name a feature, and all you have to do is think about it for a second and think about if you believe it's overrated or underrated. And then I, someone who's been driving this truck, will tell you the real answer. So, first feature, steer-by-wire. I've seen a few good pieces cover what's actually happening here, talking about the complete physical disconnect between the steering wheel you're holding and the wheels that are moving under the truck. Instead, it's a bunch of sensors reacting to your input like a video game controller. But combined with the variable steering ratio and the four-wheel steering, this is the most nimble, agile feeling truck that I have ever driven. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. So I'm going underrated. It's one of those things where Tesla definitely didn't have to do this. Like, they've made their headlines already with the looks. It could just be a Model 3 underneath, but they went through the extra measures and the extra engineering to ship a full steer-by-wire system and all the redundancies that come with making it safe. I believe they're the first ones to do this. But the variable steering ratio is really what gives it all of its utility. So at low speeds, the ability to turn really quickly gets dialed up. It's a much more responsive feeling steering wheel. So if I want to turn right here, I only have to give it, half a turn, quarter turn, and I'm fully maneuvering. The way you can pull into parking spots and make 90-degree turns and everything is a total game changer. But then at highway speeds, it softens that ratio a lot. So you have a little bit of steering input to sort of glide left and right between different lanes. It's much more subtle. You kind of need that. But then on top of that, throw in the four-wheel steering. So four-wheel steering is not new. Lots of vehicles have done it, but the amount of steer that you get from these rear wheels is pretty dramatic, to the point where you can look in the mirrors and see those wheels turning. And this can also be adjusted with software, but that really lets this huge truck basically pivot around a much smaller axis. The steering ratio now, I think, gives it the same steering circle as a Model S, but it feels really, really impressive just because of how big the actual vehicle is. It definitely takes some getting used to. You can't ignore that fact. But once you get used to it, you literally feel like when you go back to like an F-150 or any other truck where you have all this hand-over-hand steering to do the K-turns, that feels weird. It feels archaic. It feels like you shouldn't have to do that. So again, Tesla definitely didn't have to do that, but just the way you can drive it like a smaller car and really point the nose, I don't know. It's definitely underrated. All right, next feature. Bulletproof stainless steel. Overrated or underrated? I'm going with, you probably saw this one coming, I'm going with overrated. Now look, first of all, I get it. Obviously having a very durable truck is super useful, of course. But bulletproof up to 9mm rounds? Yeah, I'm not going to test that, but you know, there are some other YouTubers out there who totally will, and apparently it can literally stop smaller rounds without being punctured. But also, the glass windows aren't bulletproof. They're more of just stronger than regular glass. And then it's regular wheels, regular tires that can still get slashed. So don't go getting any ideas that this thing is invincible or anything like that. But clearly,